Hey guys, what is up? James Penrose here once again for my next video, 84 on my channel, and this video is going to be another Simpsons episode review for you guys watching. Two of them are going to be today, and it's going to be both all really in the same episode combined into one, and it's entitled Who Shot Mr. Burns? I'm going to be reviewing part 1 today in this video, and part 2 will be uploaded a little bit later on tonight, so stay tuned for that, and I promise I'll do it. I said I was going to do this yesterday, and I apologise that I didn't do it. Truth is, I just really wasn't feeling well after that review I did on Battleground. So I just kind of let it go. But I'm going to do it today for you guys, I promise you, I have my word. And I have no notes on my laptop, and there is a lot to cover, and I have no notes, so I'm going to go off memory. If I've missed some stuff, I apologise. Comment down below and tell me what I missed out. I'm not afraid to get criticism, so anyway, here we go. Part 1 of Who Shot Mr. Burns. Like I said, this is all off memory. Storyline. Starts out where it starts at the school. Principal Skinner opens up the school one day, just a regular, normal school day, only to realise that the 4th grade gerbil super dude has lost his life, and he ends up giving groundskeeper Willie the task of actually giving the gerbil a decent burial, only to realise that there was a massive oil explosion that caused oil to just go all over the place. The school struck oil basically, and then when Superintendent Chalmers and Principal Skinner realised that the school struck oil and that they were actually rich, the school, they were overjoyed. They were so delighted now that they could get any kind of stuff they wanted to get. All the staff wanted like new supplies, new staff, new teachers coming in. Lisa wanted a new teacher in Giro Puente with the jazz class that she wanted to start up. Like all of these kind of stuff were going for the school. It was doing a good flow for them. However, a guy by the name of C. Montgomery Burns was all there to ruin everything because he wanted that oil well, and he just wanted to just wreck everything basically for what the school was had going for him. So what he tries to do, he wants to get that oil well, first off by pretending to be Jimbo Jones at Principal Skinner's meeting staff, and that was to no avail. That never really ended up happening. So they ended up having this Burns Corporation where there's like this massive machine where oil just splashes everywhere, and what ended up happening was a lot of people paid the price for that. Bart Simpson's treehouse got destroyed, Bart Simpson got badly hurt, Santa's little helper got a broken leg, Bart's dog. And that was really personal to Bart, and how Bart's like, you know what, boy, I'm going to get whoever did this to you. And it also caused Moe's Tavern to be shut down, and all the people that were drinking there, like Barney, Lenny and Carl and Moe, couldn't work there anymore, couldn't drink there anymore. And that's where they got pissed off to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm going to go get my weapon now, just wait 1 second. Moe gets a shotgun, the long gun, and Barney gets a shotgun and looks at it and just goes, that's a good feeling. The school ended up going down in a crisis because they ended up going bankrupt due to Mr. Burns' oil well destruction that he caused. All the expensive stuff that the teachers wanted, they couldn't get anymore. And everyone's like, you know what, I'm going to kill that Mr. Burns and, well, ruin Mr. Smithers. Well, he really didn't have much to do with this. He was actually more of a victim, if you look at it. Homer Simpson was one of the main guys that really hated Mr. Burns just due to the fact that he couldn't remember his blinking name. I mean, he worked at that nuclear power plant, or still is working, for 10 years at that nuclear power plant. But his own boss can't remember his name, Homer Simpson. Like, that was funny as hell. And now Homer was like, because I remember when Homer Simpson went into Mr. Burns' office, snuck in and wrote graffiti all over his wall and said, "My name is Homer Simpson." Mr. Burns ended up catching Homer, and he's like, "Who the devil are you?" And Homer just goes apeshit, grabs him, and he's like, "My name is Homer Simpson!" And he gets dragged out by security, and he's like, "You're dead, Burns!" And that really got under Homer's skin right there. I also remember where the Simpsons ended up giving Mr. Burns a gift, I believe it was. I believe it was some chocolates or whatnot, and it was inside was a picture of the whole family. And Mr. Burns is like, you know, that was cool. Smithers, send a thank you note to Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie Simpson. Send all that without even putting Homer's name on there. When Homer found out, he was like, beep, and Ned Flanders was like, dear Lord. Like, that was a cool reaction from him. So at this point, Mr. Burns is the most hated man in Springfield. Everyone had a right to hate him. Oh, not only that, but Grandpa Simpson lost his home at the retirement castle because when the oil destruction was all going on, there was like a little earthquake kind of like thing going on, and that caused the retirement castle just to destroy. Abraham Simpson lost his home, and everyone at that point was like, they wanted Mr. Burns dead. That was getting up to the point where it's going to build up to that one moment at the end of the episode where Mr. Burns was going to get shot, which we all knew in the title, but we never really knew what was going to anticipate, but we all knew something was going to happen. It was building up to that one moment at the end, and I'll get to that later. So what ended up happening at that moment was there was a town meeting to discuss what was happening with Mr. Burns. Like, everyone was getting their side of the story, what Mr. Burns did to them, and you know how they're all pissed off at him and everything. And Mr. Burns, before that, Mr. Burns actually revealed to Mr. Smithers that he had one final act of destruction that he wanted to cause on the town, and that was to block out the sun. Mr. Smithers doesn't approve of this, and Mr. Burns is like, yo, you'll fall into line now. And Mr. Smithers is like, no, I won't, not until you step back from the brink of insanity. And Mr. Burns is like, I'll do no such thing, you're fired. And afterwards, from there, Mr. Smithers walks out, gives the evil laugh, Mr. Burns. So the town meeting's going on, and Mr. Burns appears and reveals his plan to block out the sun to everyone. Everyone's scared shitless. It was a weird moment because when Mr. Burns left, Krusty the Clown randomly came and he's like, you know what, guys, I've been in Reno for 6 weeks. Did I miss anything? And everyone just gives him the evilest look you could ever find, you know. And then Mr. Burns is like happy of his dirty work, proud that he's done all his destruction, caused perfectly. He's running around Springfield happy, and there was weird stuff going on while that was happening because people were still in the town meeting after everyone had left. Carl found Mr. Smithers' jacket, and he was like, well, that's odd, Mr. Smithers left his jacket behind. And Otto finds Principal Skinner's mother's lying around. Otto's like, that's odd, Principal Skinner left his mother behind. And Marge, while she's putting Maggie in her car, Marge was like, hey, where's Homer, and Bart, and Lisa, and Grandpa? Like, the rest of the family's nowhere to be seen. And it built up to that one historical moment in that episode where Mr. Burns is he ended up finding someone, and it didn't show who that was, which we all know who it was now, and I'll get to that in part 2. But ends up getting shot basically. He falls down on the he collapses on the sundial, and everyone comes up to him and is like, everyone's in town's a suspect. Everyone gives each other a funny look like, who could have done this? Who could have done this? And it's a dramatic cliffhanger ending from there. It was probably the best cliffhanger ending to an episode of animated comedy I've ever seen, where it's like on the edge of your seat. Who's the killer? Who's the killer? Who's the killer? Like, you as a fan, if you hadn't seen part 2 before and you just saw that, you'd be like, holy crap, this is epic, this is epic. And that was the best ending to a Simpsons episode I've ever seen. And yeah, that is basically part 1 of The Simpsons Who Shot Mr. Burns, part 1 from season 6. Yeah, I was rambling on a little bit there. I lost place a few times, but the thing is, I didn't have notes, and this is a long episode with a lot to cover. So, like I said before, if I missed any points out, comment down below and tell me what I missed out and what you like about this. I doubt there's going to be anything you dislike. But if there's anything you like that I didn't mention, comment down below and let me know, and we can all discuss it together. So that is it of part 1 of my Who Shot Mr. Burns episode review. Like, comment and subscribe to my channel for more of these videos coming up. Subscribe to Alex Wilkerson, a good friend of mine who does great videos on GTA Vice City, and Connor Kim, where you make great videos on GTA 5, cheats, unlockables, trophies, all that kind of stuff. So this has been James Penrose with my review, and yeah, stay tuned for part 2, guys. Peace out.